Friends, a school is an institution for educating children. Otherwise, it is a place where the pursuit of education happens in a designated area and time, overseen by authoritative personnel. So today in this video, we're going to talk about the history of school education. Hello friends, welcome to our channel called The History, where we apprise you of the important historical events which one should certainly know, along with the ancient, medieval and the modern history in order to enhance your knowledge. But before we move on, I request you to kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for the latest updates. Friends, the practice of grouping children with the sole purpose of augmenting learning has existed since the classical era. Formal schools have existed in ancient Rome, Greece, India and China. The older school developed that still exists, those of the churches commonly termed as the cathedral schools. These types of schools were established in the initial stages of Middle Age. The monastic schools came into existence by the beginning of 5th century. The madrasas were constituted in the 9th century by the Islam culture to enforce learning. Friends, talking about the various schools that developed in different parts of the world, first comes Turkey. The Ottoman tribes of Turkey were known for their emphasis on education. The towns of Bursa and Edirne were their primary centers of learning. The Ottomans proposed Kule complex of buildings which had mosque in the center and guided by a single institute, often based on the lines of Waqf charitable foundation, and composed of madrasa, a dar al-shifa, that's clinic, kitchens, bakery, Turkish bed, other buildings for various charitable services for the community and further access. This made learning accessible to a wider public through its free meals, health care, and sometimes free accommodation. The second comes Europe. In Europe, universities came into existence during the 12th century. Here an important tool was scholasticism, and the academe were called as schoolmen. The primary purpose of schools in the Middle Ages and the early modern ages was to teach the Latin language. This gave rise to the terminology grammar school, which means primary school in the United States. While in England it refers to a school that selects potential students by their aptitude or ability. The school curriculum steadily widened to include literature in the vernacular language as well as technical, scientific, artistic and practical subjects. Then comes the name of England. Yes, friends, the history of education in England dates back to the Anglo-Saxon settlement of England. During the Middle Ages, learning Latin grammar was considered very important and schools were started with the sole aim of teaching Latin. The schools were established for the sons belonging to the aristocrat society to prepare them for the position of clergy and other such religious orders. The church was the authoritative body for preserving the learning and literacy during that period, and education and learning went hand in hand. Education was primarily to read the Bible. Two universities, that is the University of Oxford followed by University of Cambridge, both related closely to training for clergy, were established in the affiliation with the church. Then comes the name of India. Before the introduction of British education, indigenous education was given higher importance from early time to colonial era. Gurukuls were the Hindu residential school of learning which existed in ancient India, and the residential schools were generally in the home of the guru or monastery. Mughals brought with them the concept of madrasas to educate Muslim children, and indigenous schools were widespread in the 18th century according to the British records. Each temple, mosque or a village in most of the regions had a school attached to them. The subjects taught included arithmetic, astronomy, law, metaphysics, theology, ethics, medical science, religion, reading and writing. During the British rule in India, Christian missionaries from various countries such as USA, England and various other nations established boarding schools. Friends, then comes the name of China. Many Chinese scholars believe that the history of education in China can be traced back at as far as the 16th century BC. Throughout this period, only the elites had the privilege to access education. The teachings of Confucianism during the Ottoman Spring were mainly based on the 5 classics and the 4 books, and were the acknowledged subjects of the Confucian culture in the feudal society in ancient China. In 1978, policy of reform and opening to the outside world was adopted by China, and these changes saw great progress in the primary education. So friends, if you like this video, I would request you to kindly share it with your friends and your loved ones. Take care, keep smiling.
Bye.